Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Visibility Era, the podcast. I'm here today with Dr. Ashley Lerman of Your First Grin. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
Hello, so excited to be here, excited for a conversation. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I just told you I have a 6 month old, and we're going to get into your business and everything like that. But I literally went on your website before this. I'm like checking everything out. I see the box. I think it's on your Instagram, actually. And there's one of the teething tubes I just purchased for my 6 month old, and he loves them. I got them in like six different colors. He loves them. So I had to tell you that before we started.
They're the best. It makes me so happy that you introduced that and are thinking about those things. And that's literally the goal of my company and starting those conversations and thoughts early.
Yeah, it's really helpful. I actually been bringing him to a occupational therapist, and she's also a feeding specialist, so she kind of told me a little bit more about just like oral mapping. And I don't know, I'm a nerd with like all things birth and now, kid by proxy. So, yeah, I'm really excited to have you on the show today. We actually put out a call just looking for really cool founders, really cool brands who are doing some amazing things, have built their brand from the ground up. They may have used PR, social media, different marketing strategies, and we wanted to bring a couple of founders on that can tell a little bit more of their story. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and then how your first grin actually came to be.
Yeah, super excited to share this story. So, a little bit about me. I'm a board certified pediatric dentist. My first job out of residency, this was 2020, so 5 years ago now. I was seeing between 60 and 80 patients a day, and parents were nonstop telling me, no one taught me how to take care of my kids' teeth. They'd bring their 3 and 4 year olds into the dentist for the first time, and they'd already have cavities established. I was so frustrated. I'd come home, be horizontal at the end of the day and just dead. And I feel like in a world where CPG has so much power, authenticity, storytelling, there was a better way to get into patients, customers' homes to change this narrative. So I started FirstGrin back then. And we've scaled and grown exponentially since then. I'm so proud and excited. And it's been such a white space of an area. And I think the success really shows, the power in the product.
Yeah, I can't believe it's only been 5 years. I,
I know.
I mean, and did you start the Instagram and the account right away, or like what was the transition from being like day-to-day dentist to like starting to create content online?
Oh my gosh, no, not at all. So I didn't even start like selling product then. That was just the idea was created 5 years ago. I officially filed the LLC, still not knowing what the company was, end of 2021. And this was before I had kids as well. So I have two young kids, a 2 year old and an 8 month old. So much has happened in that short amount of time. But I started doing content really when I first started FirstGrin, and I realized doing influencer partnerships are really expensive. I've bootstrapped this entire thing, and I just like couldn't even wrap my head around paying an influencer $15,000 and not knowing what the return on investment would be. So very punchy and learning it from scratch.
Wow, I was curious what like the going rate is for, influencer partnerships. I'm sure there's a huge range, but
Yeah.
you're saying like the people that you were talking to, that was the amount of money that they were requesting.
Yeah, that was it. And that was before I even leaned into my personal social handle, which was pediatric dentist mom. At the time, I just wanted FirstGrin to be FirstGrin. I didn't want my face to be associated with the brand or
Mhm.
company
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Maybe I was like embarrassed, scared. That I think it was fear driven. But when I realized I couldn't afford these influencer partnerships and knowing how powerful social media is for branding, I created pediatric dentist mom, and that was after I had kids. So that wasn't that long ago. It was 2 years ago that I started pediatric dentist mom.
That's amazing. Wow. It just shows you like when you have something that people want, it can grow pretty quickly. So were you following any sort of strategy? Were you posting every day, or were you kind of just like, hey, I'm going to share things on my mind? Like, how did you kind of go forth and create your own strategy?
Yeah, so Instagram slash social media then has changed a lot till now. Like even
Yeah.
in 2020, when I was just starting to think about this, it was such a different platform. So when I first started, I was again faceless, was just trying to put like stats and information in a digestible, easy way for parents
Mhm.
to save and engage with whatever it may be. And now I fully leaned into the mom, like my hair is one big knot, my dog is barking in the background, and everyone's overstimulated. And that's really hit and resonated. And I think in this day and age, authenticity really, really speaks for itself on social media. And I know as a mom and a consumer myself, I appreciate that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, your feed also like knows usually what you're interested in. So mine is of course full of feeding solids or
Yes.
even like dental things. And it's interesting because I did look on your website, or I think it was on your Instagram, where it was talking about how cavities can come from, I believe, the mother's
Yeah.
mouth
Yeah.
to the baby. And I was talking to Lydia about this the other day, and she was like mind blown too. So I mean, yeah, there's lots of things we can talk about, but that just blew my mind.
Totally. And it's taking that science and things you hear in a doctor's office and not even always,
Yeah.
and making it digestible and practical and something that we can, do in our own home as a parent to do the best for our kids, which is what we all want at the end of the day.
Yeah. So are you still in practice, like physically, or have you transitioned everything online?
Not practicing anymore. I saw patients probably 1 to 2 times a month before my latest maternity leave
Mm.
from clinical practice. I worked on FirstGrin throughout both of my maternity leaves just because, again, I was bootstrapping this. It gave me a lot of fuel for my brain to be stimulated in between like cleaning bottles, to be honest. Like keeping busy really, really helped. And having young kids has honestly made a lot more engaging content because I see firsthand what parents struggle with. I know as a mom, I'm concerned with sleep and nutrition. I understand why dental and oral health falls to the wayside. So
Yeah.
that practicality, I think, resonates really well with people who engage with the brand and are interested in it as well.
I feel like I'm assuming we're probably close-ish in age, but I feel, and I've had many conversations with even my own mom about how our generation knows so much. Like we're starting to really understand this, and I'm a pretty, I love health and nutrition and wellness. That's just lights me up. I would assume that the oral cavity is also so related to our health and wellness. And I think parents are probably, and even young parents or to be parents are probably starting to put these dots together that like what they feed their baby, how their baby sleeps, but also what's going on here. It all is part of the puzzle of like who we are as humans.
Totally. I think you nailed that on the head. And cavities are kids' number one chronic disease, and it's directly correlated to adult dental decay and overall wellness, right? We know oral health and dental disease is correlated with heart health, brain health, all of the above. So for parents to even give 1% brain space, that's what I aim to do with my brand. It's really commoditizing education prevention so people actually engage with and, put it into everyday practice.
Yeah, and it's so cool that social media can make this kind of stuff
Yeah.
digestible and pretty and like you have beautiful branding. So people are going to be like, and you're, a mom with two kids. So it just makes a lot of sense. So I know a little bit more about your backstory. You've been posting on Instagram. When did it start to come to you that like you wanted to create an actual product business? Because like going from, teaching content, well, first working with patients, then to teaching content, like how do you get to a product brand from there?
So actually, before I even leaned into the social media, when I was seeing patients at that crazy job, I was so fed up. I was like, I know there's something here in the CPG space. So I went to a pharmacy and I made my own makeshift box. I found my first customer who was a grandma in California on Reddit, and which is so crazy to think about now. But I sold it to her and I was like, okay, I know there's something here. Continue to make some sales that way. Uh, and then the branding on social media really came later. And the education, prevention, the tips piece for the social media, I knew there was something there that I need to lean into to complement the product. So it took a while to get to that point, and there was so much back and forth and so many mistakes and hiccups along the way, but that's what landed us to where we are now.
Wait, I love Reddit, so I need to know more about how the grandma from California found you on Reddit.
I wish it was a burner account. I wish I remembered what subreddit it was on. There are so many entrepreneur, et cetera, threads,
Yeah.
subreddits I'm in now, but it was like a parenting baby registry space because that's where I wanted the entry point to be, because that's a really pivotal moment for parents, moms, caregivers to learn. They're really willing, they're engaged. It's such a cohort that's motivated. So I wanted to integrate into that space. So I think it was a baby registry subreddit, and a grandmother happened to be there. She's like, I'm searching for stuff for my granddaughter.
Genius. We love
Yeah, it was
that.
cool.
So you probably like bought the products and packaged it yourself and like sent it out. How do you go from that to like, are you still making these boxes, in your home? Are you using some sort of facility? Is it like drop shipping where someone else is putting it together for you and you don't need to touch it? How does it work for you?
It took a while to get from me doing it in my house to in my garage to ordering literally 10,000 in my basement. My like family, they didn't want to kill me because they were so supportive and actually helping me. But I just like bless my husband for having this in our home. At this point now, we have a warehouse and operations team. And as an entrepreneur, I just never thought about this background and those steps to scaling big. I always was like a little embarrassed to doing it in my home. And there's no reason to do that. There's just like so much grit and time and honesty and seeing the whole process through and through. So I'm actually really proud of the steps that got it to where it is now.
You have to learn
Yeah,
somehow, and you don't want to put all this money out for getting 10,000, pieces of product and then it doesn't sell. Like you need to start
totally.
somewhere. So that was probably smart on you to then like make sure there's proof of concept and like you can get
Exactly.
sales and then, start to scale things from there. So you said that you have like a place where you're doing this now and there's a team. How many people are involved in this at this point?
So it's probably a 7-person operation. I learned the nitty-gritty of shipping, handling operations, and we were still operating during all the tariffs, et cetera. So it made me really lock into the numbers and figure out the behind the scenes. But the team has been just so, so helpful in figuring out what that looks like. So about 7 people.
That's amazing. And are you on Amazon as well, or only your specific website where people can purchase?
So we're not on Amazon yet. We're on our specific website, and we also distribute through payer partnerships. So through
Okay.
insurance companies, similar to how a breast pump is covered for new and expecting families. That was my vision. My moonshot is every single new family will have one of these so they can set the stage early for oral and dental health because no one's taught this stuff. It goes over here and we're so reactive, and my goal is to be proactive with health.
Wait, what was the conversation like to talk to insurance companies?
I so I have no business background. I'm a dentist. Like
Yeah.
no one taught me any of this. So I cold called the CEO of one of the biggest insurance companies in the country before I even started my business plan. I still don't have a business plan really, but before I came up with this concept of something tangible, not thinking that they would pick up the phone, and they ended up spending 2 hours on the phone with me, being an amazing mentor in the space, connected me to a bunch of people, and it's really just been such an insane ride since then because people understand the power of prevention and education. It's just there hasn't been a solution that's been tangible to address it. And that's what I'm so proud FirstGrin has become.
Oh my God, I have full body chills. That's amazing. You call the CEO, he actually or she, they actually answer and then
Yeah.
they say yes to your phone call. Like in that moment. I mean, I used to work at Yelp in New York City sales, cold calling phone
Yeah.
sales to local businesses. It was a grind. The
Yeah.
fact that you got the CEO on the phone, normally you have to go through, the front desk person and then try to
Yeah.
get to that person. Like that is maybe it's sheer luck, but what a like beautiful blessing. It was meant to happen.
Oh my gosh, totally. And it's such a testament because luck comes up all the time. And I really think you have to create your own luck in so many of these
Mhm.
scenarios. Like I hate calling on the phone, like to a T, burning passion, burning passion. But it hits differently than an email. And I'm a big fan of the cold email too. But just so much of our success and deals have gone through from an email. And I think in this day and age, especially with AI, we're so interested in authenticity and human voice and not talking to a robot. So it lands in a completely different way.
It's just a great reminder. Yeah, I'm proud of you that you just made that first step because that is huge and I definitely could see this being exactly what breast pumps are and every woman or family can have this for their child and just have it right away, have it to start. Um, wow, that's amazing.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you. It gives me chills to even think about it because when I started this, don't get me wrong, I had so many no's and people being like, "What are you talking about? This has no legs." So it's really cool and validating and speaking to other moms, other families who are going through it too.
Yeah, I love that. Let's shift a little bit more into this conversation around like the influencer DIY content marketing. So you did have some conversations with influencers in the beginning.
Mhm.
Was that for First Grin to try to like take it? Okay, tell
Yeah.
me like yeah, where did you start with that?
Oh my gosh, it's funny because I was so like naive to how this world worked. I have some friends like in the space, or not friends, but like I know people in the space. So I reached out being like, would you be willing to work on this, etc. I got a lot of flat out no's, and then just people again, cold calling, cold DMing, flat out no's, flat out no's. And even if I didn't know them, flat out no's. And now I understand the huge economy behind it, and people should get paid for their work. Influencers, the amount of time and editing alone, like, is absolutely mind blowing. I don't think I fully appreciated that until I had to lean into it and do it myself. So again, with that, it's been a journey, and since then, it's changed so much as well. Like, people have been reaching out to pediatric dentist mom for brand deals, and I've just learned, both sides of the story, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I have a cousin who has a viral cat Instagram,
Oh,
and I
cool.
was talking to her the other day about everything that goes into her filming, and she's literally a producer of
Hmm.
videos. You know what I mean? She is setting the stage. She makes sure the background's right. She knows exactly what like the script is. This is not just someone taking their phone and like click,
Yeah.
click, click. There's so much more that goes into it. So that is interesting. Like you get to see both sides because you were looking to not go after the influencers, but make the conversation. But
Yep.
now they're coming back to you and saying, hey, like, how can we work together? What was the
Yeah.
biggest thing you feel like you've learned just with that?
Oh, man, there's so many. I really think just respecting the hustle and grind that people put in, like, it is full time and beyond. And it's something that I've noticed, like having your phone on you all times. You're constantly thinking about what could land as marketing, what could land as a consumer, as a patient, whatever it may be. So it's really like a 24/7 and beyond gig. So that is something I learned firsthand going through this.
Yeah. And do you do a lot of brand deals on the side of pediatric dentist mom?
I've done a few. I'm very particular just because with my brand, I need to make sure it sticks with the evidence-based, expert-led.
Yeah.
There have been some questionable brands that have reached out, and I respect their hustle, their grind, whatever. But the parenting space, especially the pregnant mom, pregnant parent space, to me is so, motivated to do the best for their kid. And I wouldn't want a big check to take away from that power in my platform, if that makes sense.
It does, and it's something I've thought about a lot. I love YouTube. Like I'm a consumer of YouTube.
Yeah.
This is going to go on YouTube. Many of you might be watching this on YouTube, and it is interesting to see some brands that will take or creators that will take the deal. Like you can just tell it's
Hmm.
not aligned. And I think as consumers, of this kind of, technology, we are so our perception is heightened now. Like you can feel when it's not aligned. So I actually really appreciate you saying that you're very considerate over kind of what you allow in your space because when like brand association is huge. If you're saying yes to
Huge.
that brand, people are going to trust you because you
Yeah.
built the trust. And
Yeah.
then it's like you don't want that to ripple in the wrong way. You would only want it to ripple in the right way.
That's exactly right. And like you said, we're so heightened and you could see it. And actually a lot of influencers in the space, they'll add stories after they do a brand deal, asking for engagement and almost explaining why they're taking the deal. Because we as consumers, we don't really want to be flooded with ads. We love the authenticity. That's what's landing really well in engagement right now.
Yeah, it's also interesting to see like on YouTube, I love reading the comments because I just want to like see, I want to get a feel. And that could be a
Yeah.
dangerous thing too, right? To like go down the comment thread.
Yeah.
Um, but I've seen viewers get annoyed at the creator for
Yeah.
having the brand. And I'm like, I don't think people realize what's like you're literally producing your own TV show pretty
Yep.
much at this point. And the consumer or the viewer doesn't realize like what's going into it. So how do you handle like the outside world coming into everything that you're doing?
There's so much of that on social media, which it almost you get more engagement on polarizing topics. You're recommended to do that. You're supposed to do very punchy, divisive. First 3 seconds, you want that hook. I don't really read the negative, whatever. That's not what I'm doing this for. My goal was never to become an influencer and get these brand deals. My goal is to educate, prevent, and create something and make that business behind the Instagram, social media marketing of it. But it's an interesting space, like you said, because people want the free resources and don't understand all the time and editing that goes into it. And then brand deals have those big checks, ad spend, et cetera, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
that may allow these influencers to keep doing what they're doing. So there's nuance in it, and social media doesn't love nuance.
So true. Are there any other, things that you've thought about marketing wise to like continue growing the brand?
Yeah, I love social media. There are obviously many pitfalls with it, as like with anything else, but people are turning to it more and more to educate themselves, especially as a new mom. I was up in the middle of the night feeding my baby, and nights I couldn't go back to sleep. I'd be scrolling, and then obviously your algorithm is tuned into what you're looking at. So there's a lot of power in that. So I love to be able to educate, prevent almost with a loudspeaker, what often parents aren't told early on enough. In terms of marketing in the future, our platform's mostly on Shopify. There's some amazing apps that are easily integrated. I'm not a tech person whatsoever, but when I first started this and bootstrapping, I figured this out enough by myself and hired a freelancer at the time to help me figure out what I couldn't. So the world, and especially with AI as well, like you can get by being really, really scrappy if you are looking for the answers. And I'm just going to continue to do that right now. Social media is doing a really good job, and I hope to continue to be able to do it a trusted voice in that space.
I love that. And even like the Shopify, you didn't obviously like study Shopify. Like I don't, that wasn't even a thing you could study, right? So how was that learning curve? Like I know you hired a freelancer, but when you first, opened your account on Shopify, like where did you even begin? Did you watch YouTube tutorials? Like what did you do?
Yeah, this was before AI, ChatGPT, whatever it was. So they make it really user friendly. They have tutorials that I would sit down and go through. Like that's how new I was at this. And it took so much time. Nowadays, if I don't know how to do something, I'll ask ChatGPT and it's so much faster. And it's faster than getting a representative through Shopify a lot of the times, or Shopify, whatever the platform may be, because you're going through bots and you're waiting for an email back. So there's so much power in our hands, which I don't know. I think you take it with a grain of salt, right? If you don't know something, just try to look for the answer. Try not to let it hold you back. Because an entrepreneur, we don't know most things, but just jump into the deep end and look for those answers.
Oh yeah, we just Lydia and I just recorded a podcast episode, the two of us, and it will be coming out soon. And we're calling it "Is ChatGPT the new Google?" Because I do go
Yeah.
to ChatGPT to help me, yeah, problem solve and even
Yeah.
can code things,
Yeah.
for us if we need code. So yeah, there it really is so much knowledge at our fingertips. And I think that's one great thing about being an entrepreneur. Like you usually are pretty scrappy because usually to start, it's bootstrap, self-funded. You just got to do what you got to do and yeah, tie up your shoelaces and jump right in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that was such a new muscle for me to exercise because as a doctor by training, we're taught to be so risk averse.
Mm.
Entrepreneurship is the complete opposite. So it's been a fun ride, but it was so, so scary at first. And there's still times where it's very scary and I question myself, but it's validating, reassuring that, it's part of the process.
Yeah. Has PR, podcast, press, has that been any part of your strategy with building the brand?
It was never part of my strategy. I don't pay for PR press. What I do lean into is expert opinion. So as a pediatric dentist, I have that working in my favor. And that's part of my brand as well, being trustworthy and actually putting out information that helps people. So news outlets have reached out, pregnancy outlets, whatever it may be. So that's worked to my favor really well, both with Pediatric Dentist Mom and FirstGrin, because they're always willing to elevate both of them because they are good resources for new and expecting parents, and it's doctor backed. So I'm doing the best for my patients, my followers, whatever it may be. And again, taking that loudspeaker to the information.
Yeah, we always say like subject matter experts who have credentials,
Yeah.
doctors, master's degrees, like that is you really have an opportune time because they want your advice. A lot of writers at like a parent's magazine, they're not a doctor themselves. Like they're just tasked with writing
Yeah.
that and they need someone like you to actually help them write it. So yeah, you're in a very good position and you have a brand, to kind of back it as well. So yeah, I'm excited for you to keep doing that because yeah, you're in a good place for that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it's also in a time where there is so much misinformation on social media. There's a lot of judgment, a lot of shaming. And as a doctor, we're always talk about bedside manner. So to be able to take the reality of motherhood and when things hit the fan, and which is always like nothing's ideal ever, obviously. But to take that and like merge it with the clinical, the medicine, and like what's ideal, what's textbook versus what's reality, that's my big passion. And I think that's where the community and brand has really taken off. And I'm really, really proud and grateful to have that.
I love this. I love this all. Yeah, thank you for sharing a little bit more of like the behind the scenes of how someone actually does this. And what I'm really hearing from you is you are a bootstrap, gritty, kind of like tie up your shoelaces person. You're gonna jump right in, you're gonna figure it out, and then you're gonna, hire the right people to help you. I feel like your like science background probably helps you with that too, because you can be a little bit more like methodical in your, steps that you're taking. So cool that you could share that with us today.
Super, super appreciate it. Excited to share my story.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Dr. Ashley. Cool conversation. Keep doing what you're doing. And everyone, we will see you back here next week at Visibility Era, the podcast. See ya.